And what we're going to do is we're going to create a message box, which is a pop-up window, and we'll type we'll start typing message. Whoops. And see how this context menu came up? Whoops. See how the context menu came up? And it gives you a list of keywords and objects in Visual Studio that match the part that you have typed so far. And we see here there's a message box. So we're going to double click on that, and it automatically types for us message box. Message box is a class. Remember, a class is a object that contains attributes and behavior. It is a class that defines a pop-up window, and it has lots of cool options with it. And I'm just going to show you how to do a basic message box. We're going to type a dot after message box, and you notice there's another little window that came up. And to access the members of a class, you type a dot after the name of the class. So we have the class is message box, we type a dot, and that gives us access to its members. Now this one's only got 3 members. The one that we care about though is show. And show, double click, show is actually a function. Show is a method in MessageBox, in the MessageBox class. So a MessageBox is a form, and its main behavior is that it can be shown. And what can we show with it? Well, when we call a function, we after its name we do an open parenthesis, and now we get more information about how to use that function. I know this is all getting confusing, but just bear with me here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a string. I'm going to say, use double quotes for the string. I'm going to say hello world. Double quotes to close the string, and close parenthesis, and then a semicolon. We have just written our first line of C# code. So what is this doing? It is accessing a control called a class called MessageBox. It is exercising a method within it called show, and we're giving that method as argument a string hello world. Now let's see what this does. We got our form, we got our start button. I'm going to click on start. Oh, got a little pop-up that says hello world. Well, that's cute. And click OK. That's the only option we have. So there you have it. We have written our first C# application, and now let's save it. We'll do a save all. I'm going to close Visual Studio. So now let's look at the project in my Greg Programming folder. So I'm going to double click on my Greg Programming folder, and there's the Hello World folder that we created in Visual Studio. And inside here is a whole slew of files and folders. You'll recognize hello.cs. hello.cs. There's a few other files that are needed for your project that you did not have anything to do with, but they're just there, and you need all of these for your project. Here, by the way, is your solution file, which contains descriptions of all the files that are in your application. And here is the project file, which again contains files having to do with your application. And what you're going to do when you, let me just explain this too. And inside the bin folder, bin is short for binary, are debug and release folders, and inside debug is hello-world.exe. This is the executable that we created when we actually push the play button. I can double click on this executable and it'll run our little program. Alright. And so now let's copy these the project files to the flash drive. So I'm going to stick a flash drive in the computer. I'm going to open a file explorer, and the flash drive showed up as a removable disk F over here. What I'm going to do is what I'm going to have you guys do is in the root directory of the flash drive, I want you to create a folder with your first name and your last and the initial for your last name. So in my case it'll be Greg B. Okay, this will be very important. Then inside that folder you will create another folder with your homework for that particular day. So let's create a folder. I'm going to call it Hello World. I'm going to go inside Hello World, and I'm going to go back to my view of the Hello World project, and I am going to copy just the files that are in Hello World. I'm not going to copy any of the folders, just the files. This is all you need to copy. Turns out some of the files in the bin and obj folders are very big and will take a long time to transfer them to my flash drive. So I just want you to copy just the files. Just click and drag. That's all you need to do. And then you can kill your Explorer windows. And then down here in the right hand corner, should be an icon that kind of looks like it has a green arrow on it. Looks like maybe a little flash drive. Click on that and select Safely Remove USB Mass Storage Device. It'll say device safe to remove. And then you can remove the flash drive from your computer. You bring the USB disk to class and you turn it in. And that will be the end of the first lecture having to do with Visual Studio. See you next time.